Welcome back, everybody. And as promised before the ad break, we're chatting, or we're joined now on the couch by two, a lady and a gentleman from the world of tug of war, Randall and Claudia. They'll be giving us a bit of insight into the international tournament that takes place at Camps Bay in Cape Town. Good evening, Randall and Claudia, and welcome to Sport Federation TV. Thanks to Randall and Claudia, and all of the best to everyone involved at Tug of War, Barry's and the guys at Western Cape Tug of War, preparing for this international tournament.
My wife came in for the visit, and then she just informed me that she signed me up at school because my son wanted to do Tug of War. And that's how I got involved. And 5 years down the line, I'm part of the national development squad.
So your son was involved at the school, or he wanted to be involved at the school. Your wife signed you up because your son needed to, or there was a coach needed at the school. That's correct. And you have been involved ever since. Yes. Your son, is he still involved in the sport?
No, he's finished with school now.
Okay, so now it's just you, and I believe your two daughters are also involved.
They are also involved, yes. And my wife as well.
And your wife is also involved, yeah. So just tell us more about you as a development officer of the South African team, or the South African development team. What your role entails? How and where exactly does Tug of War develop the sport?
Okay. We've set out a goal for us at Tug of War at SATF level. What we want to do is we want to broaden the Tug of War community. We want to take it to the more rural and privileged disadvantaged groups. Also focusing on areas where drugs and crime is really a big problem. We are really struggling at this point because of the areas that's inhabited, or you can't reach them, and a lack of funding and those things.
Claudia, so obviously you've been involved in Tug of War quite a while. I've seen that you're wearing the Protea color there with so much pride. Just tell us more about how long you've been involved in Tug of War, and why Tug of War of all sports.
Well, I've been pulling now for 10 years. I started 2007. My brother was pulling, and friends and family were pulling. That's what makes the sport fun. We all from all over. So my brother started pulling, and I went to go watch a competition. And yes, it was more like a challenge. They said that I wouldn't be able to do that because I previously got my Springbok or my Protea colors in ice skating. Oh, okay. So it was like the one's very feminine and the other one's not. So I accepted the challenge, and I tried to do that, and yes, and so then in 2008 I got my national colors.
Oh, well done. So there are eight players pulling on one side. You obviously have the number positions 1 to 8. Where do you pull in the team?
Normally 1, but I can go 2 or 3. The rope is more stiffer in the front. It's more loose at the back, so I prefer it when it's harder on the rope. But it's not just of the 1 to 8. We work in a weight division, so that makes it difficult because the 8 must weigh in on a certain amount.
Okay, so explain to me, because I obviously understand a bit more about, as a group you need to be in a certain weight category or weight. Just explain to the viewers exactly how does this work, and how does the weight issue impact on the team as a whole.
Well, obviously you want your team to be as strong as possible, which means you want your girls to be healthy and strong. But weight or how can you say, muscle is heavier than fat. So we need to be as strong as possible, but as lean as possible, which makes it very difficult. So we have a division which is 500. So the 8 girls must weigh in on 500. Nothing less, well, not really less, but nothing more. And then there's the 540 category. So obviously you have your Karen, your
core.
Yeah, your core. Yeah. And then you combine it if it's the lighter division or if it's the heavier division. But yes, it makes it very difficult because sometimes we have to go jogging with black bags and stuff like that just to weigh in.
Ja, hoe moeilijk is dit regtig om gewig op te tel of om te verloor as jy nou so naby aan 'n toernooi of aan 'n kompetisie kom of jy weet jy wil nou kwalifiseer vir 'n sekere toernooi. Hoe moeilik is dit regtig waar?
Kom ek sê vir jou, ek dink ons vroumense veral tel baie maklik gewig op. So dit is die sport is 'n verskriklike, jy moet jouself kan beheer want jy moet weet wat jy inneem is goed vir jou en nie sleg nie. Ja, so ons kan baie maklik gewig optel. Ek bedoel, ek weet soos as ons nou, jy het jou donderdag geweeg, by jou Vrydag het jy maklik al 2 tot 3 kilogram weer opgetel. En dis gewoonlik maar net vloeistof. So, dit is nie altyd goed om dit te doen nie, maar ons probeer om vroeg genoeg op ons gewig te kom, sodat jy dit dan, soos hulle sê, maintain. Dan is dit baie makliker.
Randall, to get back to you, there's a big tournament happening in September in Camps Bay, 16 countries from across the world. You mentioned there's 4 or 5 hotels that have been booked out already in and around Camps or in and around Cape Town. Just tell us a bit more about this. Also, I believe there's a barefoot division as well for your 13 to 18-year-old or 5 to 13-year-old pullers or kids.
Yes. The World Championships is going to be in September from the 17th till the 22nd. This is really the biggest event of tug of war. Currently we have 3 teams that's going to take part. The current world champions, the under-19s, is from South Africa. Then it's Claudia and her team. They will be pulling in the closed division. That will be on the Friday and the Saturday. And then the development team that will be pulling in the open championships, where each and every country can enter as many teams as they want to. Then we have brought in the junior team, or the barefoot as we call it. That is kids between the age of 5 and 13. They will also be pulling in the open club division. This is actually more of an expo that we're trying to do. And then we have 16 countries that have already signed up for the competition. We have, like I said, we have 4 hotels that's fully booked. One that's already at 65%.
You mentioned earlier on about the challenges, in terms of funding and sponsorships that you guys have. What is it that a puller, I think that's what you guys call the athletes, what is it that a puller will need to be able to get him or her to a tournament as big as the Camps Bay tournament?
Okay. The one that's going to be here in Cape Town is going to cost a new puller that's coming into a national team around about 10,000 rand. And in most cases, some of these kids come from disadvantaged communities, which means they don't have the funds. For a person to stay contestant in the sport, you need funding for your boots, you need funding for your transportation, you need funding for your accommodation, because most of our pullers, like Claudia will know, if they have to go overseas for an international competition, they have to pay themselves. And this is that really bothers us.
So Claudia, hoe maak julle met fondse? Wat doen julle?
Fundraising.
Wat type fundraisers doen julle dat die gemeenskappe of dat die publiek kan weet presies where do they get involved, how do they get involved? What kind of fundraisers do you guys have?
I'm from Western Province, so we have 4 clubs, and each of them do their own thing. So ons wat in Valsbaai is, ons het ons toutrekveld is reg langs die Lutherse kerk. So daar's 'n groot saal, ons kry dit gewoonlik verniet, en dan hou ons 'n dans daar, kry 'n ou wat DJ en fondse is dan
so dis maar jou basiese sportklub funksies, tipe funksies, maar natuurlik op 'n groot skaal, bigger scale, because obviously you've got to fund, your plane tickets is not the same as a bus trip to George. You guys sent in some photos for us earlier on, so we're going to take a look at those photos that we've got there. And just talk through them, so you guys can maybe just see. So there we can obviously see there's 8 pullers. Your more stronger or your more stable puller here is obviously your 8 who anchors. It's a more specialized role. Claudia, do you normally rotate between the front 7, or is it a case of number 1 is a specialized, number 4 is specialized, or how does it work?
Well, 1 to 4 is you can rotate 1 to 4, and then 5 to 8, not really your anchor. Your anchor's all. Your 8 is your 8. So your 5, 6, and 7 you can maybe rotate. But that was a mixed team, so it's your 4 girls and 4 men.
Okay, Randall, we can just maybe bring you in here. Here's obviously, these are obviously new pullers here. You can have a look there, see one is anchoring. There we have the specialized boots and how they are pulling or tugging at the rope there. Maybe you can just talk us through as to what basic requirements you would need as a first time puller.
Okay, your basic requirements will be definitely your boots, and then you basically need a well patterned shirt to pull in. Basically, we use the rugby shirts. And then normally there's a bit of padding on the inside.
Because obviously you got to keep the rope here, so there's lots of chafing happening on the skin,
exactly.
so it does become.
So it's really not that expensive, but to start out, it can be very expensive. We're talking a pair of boots, new boots, can be anything between 1,500 to 2,000, maybe more, depending on what type of boot you want. And then we normally use the ice skating boot that is just chains at the bottom to put a heel and a metal piece on.
So it's a very expensive sport, and obviously as a development officer, you obviously want the support from your corporates or from your businesses in your area or the businesses in the public just to get involved. And so how can they get in touch with you?
They can contact me personally via email on randall2@gmail.com, or they can contact our national office at satugofwar@gmail.com.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, Claudia and Randall, for joining us on Sport Federation TV, and all of the best for the big tournament. I'm sure we'll catch up with you guys before, during, or after the massive tournament.
Yes.
So all of the best going forward.
Thank
you very much.
Thanks to Randall and Claudia, and all of the best to everyone involved at Tug of War, Barry's and the guys at Western Cape Tug of War, preparing for this international tournament, and every LOC member. We're going to be taking a quick ad break, and when we come back, we'll be joined on the couch by Helderberg Football Club, no stranger to Sport Federation TV, Ryan, and one of his star players, Shishle.